I want to go over two concepts that some of the best traders on this planet have mastered in order to allow them to be consistently profitable month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year. Now, again, this has nothing to do with what instrument you trade. Whether you trade futures, which we're going to go over here in this video, whether you trade options, you trade equities, you trade crypto, you trade commodities, you trade gold, silver, it does not matter what instrument that you trade. Second thing that does not matter is what strategy that you are using. Literally, there are thousands of strategies all kind of built around the same concepts. Has nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with whether you trade some type of version of supply and demand, whether you use moving averages, you use MACD, RSI, you use TTM squeeze, you use EMAs, you use whatever it is, order blocks, liquidity, volume shelf profile. None of that actually matters, okay? If you truly want to break through and you truly want to make a lot of money in this business for an extended period of time, it's very easy to kind of come in and have a winning day or maybe have a lucky trade that kind of gives you a false sense of security. But in order to really master this skill set, which is trading, because at the end of the day, this is a very, very high level skill set, a mental skill set. Okay. Now, again, don't confuse that. We're not out here saving lives. We're not out here protecting and serving the community. We're not actually out here doing anything significant, right? All we're doing is trading. We're traders. We're here to make money. And in fact, this is a very selfish business. It's a very greed-oriented business, and it's a very cutthroat business. I would say trading and sales, some of the two most cutthroat businesses, and marketing and advertising. Those three industries, I would say, would have to be some of the most cutthroat industries that are out there, and they've been around for the test of time. Now, let's kind of get into the two concepts that successful traders, professional traders, whether you're a successful retail trader or you're at the highest level of professionalism when it comes to trading, whether you work for a firm, you're a fund manager, something right along those lines. The two things that you need to absolutely emphasize, and you may have heard variations of these things in the past, but it's risk management, which I'm going to dive into because it's not risk management in the way that you think so. And it's how well do you understand and execute your edge, the edge being your strategy. So again, like I said, there's thousands of different strategies out there. I will never knock someone's strategy, whether they trade trend lines, they trade moving averages, so forth and so forth. It doesn't really matter. I teach a very specific way to trade at Evolution Traders, and I have my specific way to trade, and I follow my edge to a T, right? So I can identify these setups day over day. I can identify these patterns time and time again, and I've gotten really good at identifying them, and that comes with experience, and it also comes with taking trades. It also comes with losing. It also comes with winning. It also comes with journaling. A lot of these things are all tied into the same mix, but so let me expand a little bit. If you do not understand your edge and you do not have proper risk management, like these should be the two things that you focus on. Nothing else. Nothing else. Like I can end the video here. Just focus on those two things and you're going to be profitable. Or at least you're going to be on the road to being profitable. So what I really want you to understand, the concept that I want you to understand is that if you do not truly understand your strategy and able to execute it on a day in and day out basis, when you see it set up, you will be left in the dust. And again, that doesn't mean taking a trade because your strategy triggered, right? Like let's say there's a particular pattern that's giving you an entry and it triggers, but then you cut yourself out of the trade because you're down too much. So you want to protect yourself because you don't want the loss to be too big. Can you ask yourself, are you operating and are you managing your edge accordingly? Are you actually doing what your strategy is telling you to do? Or are you trying to like tinker around? Are you trying to like protect yourself here and there? And let me give you a quick example. Many of you guys are familiar with the 20 SMA play that I teach here on YouTube. Look at this play that sets up here on the NQ, which is a NASDAQ 100 on a 5-minute time frame at 6:35 in the morning. Let's go ahead and set a 1-bar stop, right? Let's set our 1-bar stop over the high wick. Let's set our entry pivot on a confirmation below the low wick, okay? We would have gotten triggered into this trade at 6:45. Now, do we understand that play? Do we understand how to get into this trade? Do we understand this simple strategy enough to say, hey, this is our stop loss, this is our pivot point. If something happens, meaning we get confirmation through the pivot point, we're going to enter the trade? Yes. Does it trigger? Absolutely. Do we get into the trade? Yes. Where do you take profits? That's the next question that arises. How long do you stick in the trade? Let's say, for example, someone got into this trade and they didn't sell on this downwards turn, which again, you should have taken out some partial size on this move. And then it starts to go back and it starts to go back and it starts to go back and it breaks even. And then you're at so much emotional disbelief that it came all the way back against you and in fear that it's going to go higher on the day that you stop out here only to see that it goes down even lower. So again, the question arises, how well did you execute your edge? How good are you following your own trading strategy? Are you shooting yourselves in the kneecaps? Are you doing things that aren't aligned with your strategy? And the question is why? It's very simple. If you want to be successful and you want to, I'm going to actually switch all of my training videos, all of these educational videos, all of these strategy teaching videos to these two concepts: risk management and how well are you executing your strategy. How well are you doing it? If you ask yourself that on a day in and day out basis, you say, how well did I manage my risk? How well did I execute my strategy? A lot of times you're losing because you're not executing your strategy correctly. A lot of times you're losing money because you're not having proper risk management. Now let's get into proper risk management here. Let's say, for example, normally we trade 5 micro contracts on the NQ. Okay. So that's our normal position sizing. That's what we're comfortable with. But in this particular trade, the entry price is from 14,368 and the exit price is all the way up here at 14,444, right? So if you look at that, you're talking about this initial candle where we potentially could be getting stopped out at is over 70 points, right? I don't even know the math. 70, 80, 90. It's over 70, 80, 90 points, guys. I'm not even going to sit here and do the math. Can you take that trade on 5 micro contracts? What happens if this trade fails and it goes all the way back up and retraces? Notice here how this candle that almost confirmed, which I could see someone jumping in on early at 640. Notice if they would have jumped this candlestick early, they were in immediate drawdown of around 60 to 70 points immediately. How many times would you have stopped out as this is going against you 30, 40, 50, 60 points? So the question remains, how well are you executing your strategy? If you're going to take this play, that means that you are comfortable with the risk that you're putting on the table for this particular trade. Now, this particular trade is allotting a 75 point plus risk. You have to ask yourself the question, if you normally trade 5 contracts, can you afford to sit through a 75 point drawdown and potentially take a loss? If the answer is no, can you sit through 4 contracts? If the answer remains no, you have to kind of go down the ladder. And if you get down to 1, and let's say, for example, 1 contract that stops you out, and now I do need to do the math because I'm going to need a clear level here. So we're looking at around 78, 80 points, okay? From 368 to 444. So from 444 down to 14,000 is 44 points. We're down here another 30 points. So we're in for about 70 points worth of stop loss. If you get down to the question and you go ahead and you put 1 micro contract on the table, and you lose 70 points, you're going to lose about $150 to $160, give or take slippage, give or take your entry, right? Let's call it 140 to 160. Are you okay with losing $140 to $160 on this trade? If the answer is yes, you dive into this trade. You dive into this trade and you are looking to equally do the same, right? You are looking to follow your strategy. Your strategy is, as long as we stay below the 20 SMA and never take out our 1 bar stop, we stay in this trade. Now, again, Does that mean that you have to hold it all the way until it closes over the 20? Of course not, because you would have broken even. We do want to take profits when the move's going in our favor. So again, if we look at the entry from 368, it drops all the way down to 267. This is a 100-point drop, guys. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So within 35 to 40 minutes, it drops almost 100 points. Even with your position sizing, with your risk management of one micro contract on this particular trade, because of the range was so deep, you would have still made close to 150 bucks. So we were going to give up 150 bucks. We would have made $150. Okay. That's following your edge. That's how you manage your risk management. It doesn't mean, well, normally I trade 3 contracts, so I'm going to go ahead and put 3 contracts on. But do you understand that if you lose on 3 contracts at $70 per contract, you're going to be upwards of over $220, $250 loss? Are you okay with that? The answer is probably not. So we might need to size down, go to 2. We might need to size down, go to 1. Okay. Now, as this move starts to confirm to the downside and we do take these profits, we'll notice that you're going to get a setup here. And although this setup confirms, we do get an immediate stop out. Now, I can protect you guys from taking these losing trades off of looking at, off of looking at the hourly and the daily candles, right? Use those bigger time frames. What is the bias on those candles? Is the daily bias based on where we're trading at, below the 50, below the 200, below the 20, below the 5? Would we say that the market is going higher today or lower today, right? So if the bias, the directional bias was down, then maybe we should just stick to the short-term trades, okay? So even if we ignored all of the longs today and we followed our strategy, just using this simple strategy, we're going to ignore the longs. We're going to take this next setup, okay? I'm going to give you an example of this setup because I want you guys to understand this. A lot of you guys are not executing your strategy, whether you're using this strategy or your own. You're not executing the strategy at all. You guys are just identifying that your strategy is giving you a move, but you guys are entering into trades late. You guys are cutting trades too soon. You guys are not holding to full potential. You're stopping yourself out because you're panicking. You have too much risk on the table. It's causing you to get chopped up and you're bailing out of the trade early. The best traders in the world, it's not because of what strategy they use. They don't have some magic system. They don't have someone in their ear saying, go ahead and buy this. You're going to be in the money, 100 points. The best traders are very, very good at managing their risk. The best traders are excellent executors. They are excellent at performing a task. They are excellent at operating under high stress environments. Trading is a very boring business. I'm sitting on my stump. I am not exerting a lot of energy sitting here. I'm getting fatter, actually, as time and years have gone on, sitting here doing this each and every single day. So it's not mental or not physically exhausting. I'm not physically exerting myself, but I am mentally draining myself each and every single day. I've probably felt like I've had 5 heart attacks over the past 5 years. Okay. So yes, it's very emotionally stressful. So it's a high stress environment. And what you need to understand is the best traders, and I'm not saying that I'm a world-class trader. I'm not saying that, I could walk onto Wall Street right now and do numbers like that, like they're doing, but I operate at a pretty damn good level for my account size. Okay. And I execute on my strategy. I trust my strategy. I also am very good at managing risk. That's what it comes down to. If you want to understand how some of the best traders are the best traders, focus on 2 things. Are you sized correctly for the potential move? Now, my strategies, and I believe that everyone's strategy, I don't believe in, we have to get 2R. I don't believe in, let's set a, 12 tick stop loss on the NQ. This thing will whip around on you 30 points and you'll be chopped up worse than, someone putting their finger in a blender. Dynamic stops need to be put in place. What does that mean? It means that every stop loss, every take profit is different per trade. I'm not essentially, normally I trade anywhere between 3 to 5 micro contracts. There's no way in hell that I'm going to put on 5 micro contracts, let alone minis. I know some of you guys trade mini contracts. There's no way that I'm going to put on multiple mini contracts or multiple micro contracts on a 70 to 75 point stop loss. There's no chance in hell. But I'm okay with putting 1 or 2 contracts down on the table because I know that the most that I can lose is $150 or $300 on this trade. And it's at that point I can ask myself, do I really want to trade anymore today? Or do I want to come back tomorrow? If I take a $300 loss, am I okay with any more of a daily loss limit than that? If the answer is no, then you walk away from the computer screens and we come back tomorrow, regardless of what else happens in the day. A lot of you guys will take a big loss right off the bell because your risk management is poor. And then you'll try to trade all day and you'll continue to just give away profits because you're in fear of not making any money, when in fact, that's not how you operate at a high level. If you really want to be successful at this, you have to operate at a high level and you have to be an executioner. And that means that you need to be able to pull the trigger when you're fucking supposed to pull the trigger. And that means that when your strategy triggers, you need to get into the trade. I don't care if you lost the last trade. I don't even care if you lost the last 5 trades. This business is all based on probabilities. No 2 trades correlate together. Yes, we use the same strategy, but the same strategy has nothing to do with this trade and it has nothing to do with this trade. Okay? That's probabilities. So how am I to say that this trade was going to work and this trade was going to fail? I don't know that. This trade could have also confirmed and went towards high of day. It could have very well done that. I don't know that. But I know that on a downtrending market, I'm going to kind of avoid the short positions until we get some big extended exhaustion move like we did towards the end of the day when we trade up from a price of 456 all the way down to 410. I mean, guys, we were down another 350, 400 points. Then we can maybe think about taking a little bit of a play to the potential upside. But even that is risky. I want you guys to focus on this more so than anything else. Are you playing the right amount of contracts? And are you executing your strategy correctly? Because a lot of you guys that follow me, a lot of you guys see these plays set up. You're not even letting it. And I see it all day. You guys are not even letting the trade go. You're getting into the trade. Your risk management is absolute dog shit for the amount of risk stop loss that you're going to put on. It's absolute dog shit. So the minute that this trade starts going against you, you're forced to cut it because emotionally you want to stop out and you want the emotional pain to end. Then you're sitting there watching the market go down all day and you're constantly chasing new low of day, new low of day, new low of day, new low of day. Guys, there's only one low of day. That's breaking a previous day's channel, high or low. There's only one high of day. That's breaking the previous day's channel high. That's it. There's only one breakout, guys. It's not like, oh, a new low has been set in, let's take a new play on the new low. There's only one new low. Like there will not be a new low until the market closes. You want to know what the low is today? The new low is 14,140 on the NASDAQ. Our initial low that we needed to break was yesterday's low. So whether that comes in pre-market, overnight session, London session, Asian session, doesn't really fucking matter when it gets broken. Once that level is broken, it's broken. Like you're in a new, you have to wait till tomorrow to even see what the new low is. So all of this nonsense that I hear, I'm going to take the new low of day, the new low of day, the new low of day. There's only one low of day that gets set at the end of the day. Okay. So if you really want to be a professional trader, and I'm not saying you want to sit in a suit, and I'm not saying you want to make millions and millions of dollars. I'm just saying if you want to make even $100 a day, how well, and I want you to think about this, how well are you executing on your strategy? How well do you understand your own strategy? How well are you letting your own strategy play out? And are you setting dynamic stops based on your risk management? Meaning that, look at this particular play. From 311 to 359 was your stop loss. So this is not as much as this first trade. So this short setup, we're only giving ourselves maybe about 50 points worth of risk versus on this trade, we were giving ourselves 70, almost 80 points of risk. So if this candle's risk factor is going to be 50 points, and maybe we can only trade one contract, that's what we're okay with, maybe here we can trade two, because if we lose 50 points on one contract, it's only a loss of $100. If we lose 50 points on two contracts, it's only a loss of $200. So maybe we can stomach that a little bit better. So maybe on this play, we can size up. Or if you were really smart, you would have been in this initial short play. I want you guys to really pay attention here, because I feel like a lot of you guys listen, but you don't pay attention. Technically, you should have been in on this play and you should have taken some profits on the way down. You should have held a runner, right? Because you're still below your initial risk factor here. And then you should have reloaded on your size here. So even if you were trading one contract, or even if you're trading two contracts, you should have sold one for some profits, broke even on that second contract, and then added two more contracts here to your already existing runner. Now you're in a total of 3 contracts that go from a price of 311 all the way down to 140. Guys, you would have made 150 points, 200 points. You would have made, this was a $500 trade, $600 trade, trading just 1-2 micros. But because you're not following your edge, because you're not even allowing it to play out, like how well do you execute on your edge? Your execution is shit. So when traders come to me, especially, when people want to go through, let's say, I'm not even going to get into that. I need to make another video. But what you guys need to focus on is, are you managing your risk properly per the trade that you're getting into, and how well do you execute your edge? Those are 2 questions that you can ask yourself on a day in and day out basis. How well did you execute on your strategy? Did you get in on time? Probably not. Did you stop out where you were supposed to stop out? Probably not. Why did you stop out so early? Well, because I didn't want to lose any more money. Then that tells me that your risk management is shit. How come you got into the trade and you didn't even let it go to the next demand zone? Well, I took profits. I was happy with it. But you lost out on like 3 or 4x on that trade. Yeah, but I was okay with it. But then you gave it all back because you chased a new low of day later and then you got stopped out. Why did you do that? Well, because it was still going in my favor, but you already were in the right move from the start. So why did you get out of it? Guys, if you want to learn more about yourself as a trader and you want to actually get serious and you guys actually want to try to focus and learn, I can come and I can teach you guys this stuff, but I'm going to be very honest. I'm very blunt. I'm very hard, right? Like I'm hard. If you're not doing something right, I'm going to ask you, why are you not doing things right? Why are you not doing things right? How long do you want to continue to lose money because you are not doing things right? When are you going to understand that the reason why you're not profitable is because you are not allowing yourself to be profitable? When are you going to understand that once you start trying to reach for the stars and grab the pot of gold, that you will start to make more money because you size down appropriately? You're going to allow yourself to be in the trades longer, to full stop out technical damage, or to a full trade maturity. You are derailing your success because you personally are not wanting to do the things that the other people who are successful do. If 90% of traders are failing, how come you are not in the 10%? How come you are not following your strategy to a T? How come you are not sizing yourself appropriately for these trades? How come you are putting on the same amount of risk on every trade, depending on if your stop loss is 10 points or your stop loss is 100 points? How come you are taking food out of your family's mouth? How come you are telling everyone that you're being successful as a trader, but you're not really being honest with yourself? It sounds real nice when you're sitting with your buddies and you're talking trade talk. It sounds real nice when you go tell your wife that, hey, you're learning, you're getting better, but you're not bringing home any money. How long are you going to do that? How long are you going to just say, well, if I learn this new strategy or this new concept, if I follow this person, if I just, try to copy this person's trades, I'll make money? When are you going to step up and make money? When are you going to invest in your education? Instead of losing $1,000, why don't you go hire a private mentor? Why don't you go hire a coach? Why don't you go hire someone who could put their foot up your butt and tell you what you're doing wrong? Why don't you hire someone to I don't know. And I've been trying to wrap my brain around this for years now. Why do you want to go out there and consistently lose money instead of joining a community, a brotherhood, a team? It doesn't have to be mine. Go find someone who you relate to. Go find someone who's your cup of tea. Go find someone whose strategy aligns with your personality. A lot of you guys out there are on the inside. It's like, It's like you ever see at Easter time, right? I know some of you may not be religious, but you know, around Easter time, they have those rabbits, and it's like a chocolate bunny. And on the inside, when you crack it open, you think there's going to be something in there, but there's nothing in there. It's completely hollow. A lot of you guys are hollow on the inside because you're not accepting the fact that you need help. You're not accepting the fact that you're doing shit the wrong way. You're not accepting the fact that you can't just be hard-headed and hard-nosed and continue to just... It's not how many trades you take. It's not like pounding your head into the wall and you're going to eventually break through. You have to start doing the things that the 10% is doing. As a matter of fact, I think it's closer to probably 2%. 1 to 2% of actually profitable traders are doing shit that 98% of traders do not do. 98% of traders do not have a dynamic stop loss where they're actually adjusting their position size based on the amount of risk that's going on the table. They're just in fact, they're throwing out more risk when they lose money. They're throwing out more risk on the table, and it's causing a big cycle. A lot of traders are just sniping profits here. They're scalping this really quickly, and then they're chasing every new low of day, getting chopped up on every bounce, right? A lot of traders will snipe this move here, and it'll be a good move, and then it goes down again. So then they try to take the new low and immediately goes down and pops back up on them. Their risk management sucks. They get stopped out of the trade. They gave away all the profits from the previous trade, and then they watch this thing go down another 100 points instead of just automatically being in the move, because your strategy says as long as it's below the 20 SMA, you hold it. You hold the trade. There's no reason to get out of the trade. Guys, I hope this helps. If you guys want to trade with me each and every single day live, if you want to get put through a one-on-one personal boot camp, again, I won't put you on blast. I don't use names. We can get on the phone every day. My calendar is in my Discord at Evolution Traders. I have 2 to 3 one-on-one coaching calls each and every single day with traders in my room. Those are the traders who are going to be successful. Those are the ones, when we look at the charts live, I ask the hard questions, you answer them truthfully, you figure out what you did wrong, you write it down, and you correct it tomorrow, and then you do it over and over and over and over. And then one day it just clicks where you're like, I don't need this guy to tell me what I'm doing wrong. I know that I should have been in that trade. I know that I should get out of this trade. And then it starts to finally, that snowball finally starts to roll down the hill, and it gets larger and larger and larger, meaning your profits get larger and larger and larger. When you're ready to take that jump and you're ready to educate yourself, join me at Evolution Traders Community Mentorship. That link is down in the description box below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.